What? John, you have the earth behind you. No, I like that one. Can we change it for today? Yeah, this one. It's very nice. Okay. Bye.
عليك كاميرتك تكسر شوي.
Hello, Zara. Hello, Doris.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we are hearing you, but I think John is not hearing us.
I think it's working now.
Okay.
For some reason, I had something going on with my little computer here, but all is good.
Because he's out of a space.
I know it. I'm out of cell phone range. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, John.
Hey, Zara, how's everything over in Saudi Arabia?
Hello. Everything is good.
Good, good. I'm glad to hear it. Wonderful.
Can you see my picture?
I don't see your picture. I just see your name, actually.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, all I'm seeing is your name for right
Yes. All we are saying is your name.
now. I'm going to pull up here my little PowerPoint because I'm going to have a PowerPoint for you guys in a minute. That may be Nathan, who's the iPhone.
Yeah.
Hi, Nathan.
Hi, John.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. And you?
I'm good. I'm feeling a little spacey.
Mhm.
Whoa, 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 whoa. How are you, Doris?
I'm good. I mean, I have some guys working on my roof. So they are changing the roof. So it's a lot of noise here.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, it'll be good when that's all finished. Hopefully it'll only take a few days, right?
Yeah, just 2 days.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
have to do the same thing.
changing the roof.
Okay. Well, don't worry. If they get too loud, just yell at them.
That's why I'm using this headphones.
Ah, good plan. Good plan. Everybody doing all right?
No.
Oh no, Amenoveve, I'm sorry.
What happened? So
I'm bleeding of the nose since yesterday afternoon.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Can you call do the telemedicine?
Yeah, I've already called them.
Good, good. Well, if it turns out, if during our session, if you need to zip out to do that, don't worry, okay?
Okay,
Make sure
thank
you
you.
get all the information, all right?
Okay, thank you.
Because I know that can be hard. I'm gonna see if what I can do here with my, let me get this thing ready for you. Let's see what I can do here. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna just, all right. Let me find you guys. So wasn't it fun writing your timed writing?
Yeah. For me, I didn't like the topic.
Oh.
I mean, I have only 1 or 2 sentences to describe my answer. So I didn't write my opinion. I just write to fill the requirements.
Oh, well. Well, I have to tell you something that I have done. You know, in this class, I told you I want to focus on these timed writing because it's actually a very important skill for you guys to develop.
Yeah.
Is to be able to write when the pressure is on, right there, and you've got to write things. So I've given, you know, you have 4 of those. We're going into outer space. You have 4 of these timed writings. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the lowest grade of those 4. So you're going to have the 3 highest grades, and then the 4th one we just get rid of. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
So hopefully, I hope you like the other topics more, Zara.
I hope to.
I hope so. Minjing, good morning. Oh, there she is.
Hi,
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good. I hope you had a nice weekend. Christelle, good morning.
Good morning, John.
It's wonderful to see you. Oh, Jill,
Morning.
good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm feeling kind of lost in space here. I got so excited because I saw the rocket ship last week.
Yeah.
Is that Anne? 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 Hi. Good morning.
Morning. Sorry, I'm so tired.
Well, I understand that. I actually woke up very early this morning. So if I start going like this, just you have to give me a virtual poke. Mariam?
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
I am very good. Thank you. Bradley? Is that you?
Hi, morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Hi, good.
Good. It's wonderful to see you. I think almost all of us are here. I don't know if you know now, Zara, where are you calling from, Zara?
From Saudi Arabia.
Oh my goodness. So what time is it there?
4 p.m.
Zara, if you want to come talk to me during my office hour at 3 in the morning, I mean at 3 in the afternoon here, what time is it there?
10 p.m.
Oh, that's not too bad, I guess.
For me, it's too bad because I sleep early. I sleep at 8 p.m.
But that's very healthy. That's better for you. So good for you. You know, Claudia, I hope Claudia will be able to be here today. She actually has traveled to Brazil, I believe.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And so please, everyone, send positive energy to our friend Claudia. You know, right now, Brazil is going through some difficult times like we are here in the United States with the pandemic. So I hope everyone in her family is safe. Well, actually, I hope for all of us, I hope our families are safe because that's what matters in the world, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's one other thing that matters. Grammar.
Yes.
Okay, I think it's ready for us to get started here. Let me see if I can do this. I'm gonna, see what that, no, I don't want that. Do I want that? Let me see. Uh-oh, what are you seeing here? No, that's not it.
Warm-up discussion.
Hold on, I know what I need to do. Okay. I've got the technology, I think. Screen 2, that's what I wanted. All right, good. All right, so now you guys see a little screen of the welcome slide here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. You know, I have to tell you, this weekend, it sort of hit me what a crazy time we're living in. This is pretty crazy. And you guys, I started reading your essays, the timed writing, and you guys give me great energy because I see the things that you're writing and I get very happy about that. I hope you all will be happy with me when I give you all my little feedback too. I'm going to, I'll show you on Thursday. I've started grading, but I haven't finished. So I hope to have everything finished on Thursday. And during our session on Thursday, I will show you how you can go in and open up a file where you get to see two things. One is my feedback to your essays. And the second thing is it's something that they call, I think it's called the similarity score. And it shows any part of your essay that is found somewhere else on the internet. And it's a very interesting thing because sometimes you may have something that is the same as something else on the internet. Sometimes it's because it's a very common phrase. And sometimes it's because you may have gotten information from a source and forgot to either put it in quotation marks. This is something I always worry about when I'm working on a writing project, because you start collecting resources, right? And sometimes I'll copy things to put them because I say, wow, the way the person wrote this is beautiful. So I copy it and put it somewhere. But if I'm not careful, I forget who wrote it. And I think, oh, I must have written that a few weeks ago, but it's not mine. So you have to be very careful about that. One of the things that I've done for you guys in iCollege is there is an assignment Dropbox that says, turn it in essays, something like that. That is something that you can use for anything that you're writing. You can put it in there, and then once you put it in, you'll be able to see if there's anything in what you've written that is the same as something else on the internet. Because, or actually they have two aspects. One is if it's the same thing as what's on the internet, or the other thing is if it's the same thing as another student's essay here at Georgia State. Mm-hmm. And part of the reason why I want you guys to be able to see that, so that you can see, first of all, how sometimes there are some short phrases that are very common that, everybody uses. That's not plagiarism, but if it's a long thing, you have to be very careful and you have to figure out what's going on, okay? But I want you to be able to do that so you can also see what your professors see when you send something in. I've had experiences in the past where students don't quite understand the rules that are set out in the university, and it can have a very negative consequence. So I'm going to give you guys lots of opportunities to check on that. Okay, let's see. Oh, look at this. Hello, everyone. Were you able to read the essay on genetically modified foods?
Yes.
Oh, good, good. Well, I'm going to ask you guys a few questions, and I'm going to let you guys talk about this. I'm going to try something. We're going to try and do a group discussion. So we have a few questions. First of all, do you worry about the safety of foods that you buy from the supermarket?
Yes.
Actually, I'm going to do something here. Well, does anybody here worry about that?
Yes, I'm very worried about it.
Tell me, Doris, why?
Because like the pesticides are the chemicals that in the farms they use to keep like the beauty of the food can be really harmful for our body. Like we can get cancers, we can get like a lot of a lot of health issues, like in our skin. So sometimes it's trying to, for example, for my kids, I trying to buy a lot of organic food, because it's like you are giving them the nutrients that you, in your mind, you believe that is healthy for them, and then you don't know what is in this kind of food. So I'm very concerned about it. And then sometimes
And you have small children too, right? You have small children?
Yeah, I have a 4 years old and a 5 years old.
Yeah.
So sometimes when I get something that said it's organic and really is not.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to ask everybody here. There's a little button on the bottom of your screen that says reactions. So let me see. Like, do you see a little button that came up on mine?
Yes.
Oh, Zara, I see yours too. What I'm going to ask you guys to do is, I want you to give me the thumbs up if you also try to buy organic food.
Yes.
So, Christelle, Mariam, Doris, Amenuveve, Bradley, no organic food? Oh, Bradley. Oh, Nathan. Chew, no organic food?
No.
Well, let me ask you guys, what's a benefit or what's an advantage or a disadvantage of organic food?
The disadvantages is it's expensive.
Yeah.
And
Go ahead, Zara.
it's good for our health.
So that's one of the good things, but the bad thing is it's more expensive, right?
Yeah.
I go into the store planning to buy organic food. And then when I see the prices, sometimes I don't. I have to confess. Does anyone not buy organic food because of the price?
So it depends on some stuff like milk and eggs or meat. We have to try at least to buy these things organic. But sometimes it's expensive that you say, okay, yeah, we have to not buy meat.
Well, sometimes I try not to eat a lot of meat, but sometimes when I eat meat or when I go to shop and I go to buy meat, the organic beef is like double the price.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow, I'm going to become a vegetarian.
But also, like, the veggies are too expensive. So if you see, and like, for example, in Costco, the organic berries. So the organics are $80, and the regular ones are, the non-organic are $3.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard.
Double.
It's a hard thing because you would like to be able to make the healthy choice all the time, but sometimes it doesn't always work. So you mentioned that there are pesticides, Doris. What are some, and I'll ask anybody else, what is something else that you have to worry about when you have safety of food besides pesticides? The pesticides are the things you spray on the food so that an apple...
Glyphosate.
What was that?
The glyphosate that they use for GMO food, glyphosate.
Oh, nice. So, and that's connected to the GMO, genetically modified? Yeah. So notice that there's two areas, which is the things that they spray on the foods, but then there's also when they modify the foods genetically. Do you know how much of your food is genetically modified here in the United States?
Almost 90%, they say.
They say it's 90%, right?
Yes.
But do they mark that it's genetically modified?
No, because they label it differently and it's confusing people, like bio, something like that.
Yeah, bioengineered maybe?
Bioengineering, and so people don't understand sometimes. They are GMO, but they don't know because the less awareness that they have about the topic.
Yeah. And does anyone know of another place where genetically modified foods are marked in the supermarket? Hmm?
Europe, in Syria?
In Syria, because I know Europe definitely, I think the European Union, I think it's actually the law there, I believe, but I could be mistaken. But I know it's very common to have them marked in most of Europe. And Syria too, you think?
I think I heard in somewhere an article they put, and people are laughing, they don't label in America, but they label in Syria.
Well, good. You know, they are ahead of the United States in that regard, I believe. That's my opinion. What do you guys think? Is it good to have genetically modified foods?
It's a controversial topic. There is a less research about both sides. People have misconception about bad and good thing. It's good for sustainable agriculture, I believe, and need more good research. I feel that I have both two sides of ideas about bad and good. If we think about for the development of sustainable agriculture, for ending the poverty and hunger, it's a good thing. But then when it's come for the nutrition and health, so since this side, I personally don't have a lot of information about it. I have the two side of thinking about, and sometimes I feel good, sometimes I don't feel good.
Yeah. Well, you know, uh-oh, did I just lose you all? Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. For some reason, oh, my screen did it again. They froze up on me. I brought my other computer with me to make sure that it was here. So, yeah, I think my machine has frozen again. Sorry about that, guys. I'm going to jump into my other computer. I'm going to get rid of this other one.
But we still see you.
You can?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you are moving.
Now it's black.
No.
Now
it's froze.
hello. We can't hear you now.
Hi, everybody.
Hey.
I don't know what third time my computer has shut off, even though you said you could still see me, right? But now you can only see my, what's weird is that the screen is my old screen. Oh, we lost that. That's probably good. You guys can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
I
but I think
apologize for
the
this
internet is
technical-
not so good.
Pardon?
I mean, we can hear you, but for me, it's not obvious. Obviously, it's not clear.
Okay. All right. All right. I'll fix that. Okay, let's see here. Good. Can you hear me a little bit better?
Yeah.
Good. You're going to lose me for a sec.
Okay.
Okay.
I promise you I'll be right back. Am I back?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. I'm going to do my best here to quickly move from one to the other. And now you can actually see I'm no longer in outer space, right? I'm back in my room with my Georgia State pennant over there. All right, let's see here. I'm going to hit that. I will get you guys started. Don't you worry. All right. And now I want to share my screen. Now can you see this again?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. All right. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. So Mariam, you were just mentioning some of the pros and cons and how that makes it harder to understand which is the right answer, right?
Yes.
And one of the realities is for any issue, and we're going to be writing about several different issues here, but for any issue, typically, if it's worth discussing, there are good points on both sides, you know, so that almost any argument that people have, there are reasons why people feel one way or the other way. And this, you know, regardless of how we feel about it, we have to be able to, in an academic environment, address both sides objectively and fairly. So I think it's actually a very interesting topic to look at the GMOs. I don't think anyone has that for their topic here, or for their next essay, but that's okay. So I want to talk to you for a minute about a writing topic. And one of the things is we want to try and make sure that we don't use extra words when we are writing. Why do you think I want you to avoid using extra words?
Like, what do you mean by extra words?
Well, one thing that I see a lot in writing, especially in student writing, is that you will write a student will write something and they use more words than what they need. Now, there are a couple of reasons why it's important to make, and the term I will use is you need to be concise. Concise means to be brief, to keep things short. Because if you keep things short, but you're still effective as a writer, you're going to make your point more powerfully and more effectively for your reader. So, and sometimes when we're thinking, we think about things and we write them, but we don't really think about, well, how can I make that shorter? So part of it is to be an effective communicator. Another reason is oftentimes in the academic world, you will see that there are word limits or page limits to what you're writing. And that means you have to make sure you get everything in within a specific number of words or a specific number of pages. And this is true in academic life, but it's also true if you're going to be writing grants or anytime you're going to be submitting documents, legal documents, government documents, they often will give you word limits. So when you repeat key ideas, that can help your sentences flow together, and that's a good thing. But if you keep repeating the same words more times than you need to, it makes it repetitive, and that's not so good. So the way that we avoid this is sometimes you can take those keywords and use synonyms instead. And you can also use, as we've discussed already in this class, pronouns and demonstratives. You can use different word forms, so verbs instead of nouns, etc. And you can also take 2 sentences or 3 sentences or sometimes even 4 sentences and combine them. And that will make it less repetitive. So here's what I'm going to do. Let me see if I can do this. I'm going to send you to a breakout room, and I'm going to ask you to look at these sentences and figure out how you're going to make them less repetitive. Now, I think I need to add a room. Let me add another room. Okay, let's see what we got here. So I'm going to assign you guys to some rooms, and I want you to look at these 2 sentences, and I want you to come up with a way to make them less repetitive. I'm going to put Amenuveve and Bradley. And you are going to go with Doris, Nathan and Mariam, Zara, Minjing, and Christelle. Did I lose Chui? Chu's not there. Okay, well, I'll put you guys in there. Okay, so I'm going to send you into these rooms and let me know if you can still see my screen. I hope you can.
Yeah, we
But
can.
when you go into the rooms?
No.
No,
For me, I
we
saw the
can.
picture.
Okay, well, I'm going to post. I'll stick this into the chat room for you. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Bye, guys. I'll see you in a little bit.
Okay.
Hello.
No, my network is disconnection.
Oh, I understand. You know, I had the same problem. Hang on. I'm going to. Chu,
Yes,
how are you?
good.
You doing okay?
Yes,
You know, I'm very happy that you're in this class with me.
yes.
I'm going to move you into a room so you can get to work with some of these guys, okay?
Okay.
All right. I will, let me see. Oh, actually, you know what? I think I'm going to give you a brand new room. And I'm going to move someone over there with you. Okay?
Thank you.
Zara?
Should I write it here?
Yeah, in the chat room.
Okay.
So if one person from your pair can write about water pollution and the other person write about making eye contact and put them up there. Remember, when you're taking an idea that's already been written and you want to rewrite it, you have free reign. You can make it, you can change it to make it more effective. And I did the Noam Chomsky one, just to give you an idea.
Okay.
Sorry.
Miriam, did you write it?
Yeah, so you need one of the people in your pair needs to write one of the sentences, but much better than what I did, and the other one will write the other one. So we're going to get some different options for the water pollution sentence and also the successful candidates and eye contact sentence. You can make it, you want to make it shorter, you want to make it less repetitive. And this is an important part of editing your own work. Miriam. So remember, you want to try and make it shorter than what it was. And you have to notice that there's the variety of different things in the first sentence and then a variety of things in the second sentence. So how do we?
Please, John, I post mine. Can you see?
Yeah, let me take a look. And I like yours, although you don't really need that comma after the candidates. You can just say with other candidates and interviewers. But that's nice. That's made it shorter. Good. And all of that is something that makes them successful. Christelle says water pollution can be caused by a variety of different things. Here you would use a comma, such as large corporate factories. Nice. Water pollution can be caused by a variety of things. Among them are large corporate factories. That's nice, Amenuveve. For you, among them, you actually don't need the comma, which is after that, there's no comma. Water pollution, Zara says, can be caused by a variety of different things. and large corporate factors. Well, you have to be careful there, Zara, because you're actually saying that's one of the variety of things. It's not a separate thing. So you could use such, like the way Christelle said, such as large corporate factors. You can also use a phrase like which includes, things like that. And one of the reasons why I want you guys to notice these is that this is what you're looking up on what the sentences you see on my screen are very commonly the way we write when we're first thinking about an idea. So you're going to write it out. Don't worry about it when you first write it. But then when you go back to look at it, before you give it to me, you want to think, how do I make this? How do I share the same ideas, but without necessarily using so many words? Sometimes you need to use the words because they're complex ideas. But sometimes if you're just repeating something, you want to come up with strategies so that you can shorten it and make it more effective. Let's see. I'm still waiting for Bradley. Bradley. Minjin.
About
Oh. Chu. The characteristic of successful candidates is eye contact with others. Oh man, I like it. I like that. One of the things that Chu has done is you don't necessarily have to stay exactly in the same structure. You can take the idea and just move it around, and you'll find that it's going to be, actually, you can make it a lot clearer.
What about mine?
Zara? Yeah, Zara, yours, it's good except for when you say a variety of different things and large corporate factors, factories, but the and large corporate factories, you have to be careful because that's included as part of the variety of things. So you would say something like they're caused by a variety of different things, including large corporate factories, or such as. One of the, well, let me see what else we got. Doris. So Chu, I really like, you guys, I like what Chu has done here because she looked at what the idea was and she said, how do I figure out what the idea is and then just say it plainly and directly? And that really worked well. Making eye contact with the interviewers is a characteristic to be a successful candidate. Nice, Doris. That's also a nice way to do it. One of the things that we all learn, or we all realize as writers, because, you know, I also like to write, is when we're first writing the ideas, we may not be that clear because we're still formulating the ideas. But then when you start looking at it, once you've organized all of it, you can say, you know what, I think I can say this in an even clearer way. And that's what you're doing here. Okay, who else? Are we still missing? Did I see anything from Nathan?
Not yet.
Oh, Nathan. Bradley?
I always wrote mine.
You did?
Yes.
Where is it?
Yeah, he sent it privately for me, I think by mistake.
Oh, by mistake. Oh, Jesus Christ.
The joys of these complex chat rooms.
Oh, what?
But you guys have some very nice things. You know, one of the things that you do want to be careful about is you don't want to necessarily change the meaning unless you mean to change the meaning. And Zara, that's why when I looked at your sentence, you had it as saying there's the variety of things and there's this other thing. But we actually want to put that other thing into the variety.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, guys, I'm gonna move forward here. I know who Bradley is gonna write something for me, right, Bradley? You can still pop that in there for me. Nathan.
I wrote. I have to write again.
Yeah, because you can just copy it from what you sent to. Who did you send it to?
Zara.
To Zara. Yeah, you can copy it and pop it in there. But don't worry, I'll be able to look at it a little later. I'm gonna close our the chat for the moment because I want to talk a little bit about, something is coming up this week, everyone. Your rough draft. That timed writing, that was easy. That was easy. Now we're going to start getting serious. We're going to look at your rough draft for your first essay. I want to just give you an idea here on this screen were some of the different topics that people in the past have written in my class. Things like overpopulation, a lack of education in a specific place, high obesity rates. I know some of you are already looking at childhood obesity. Here's an interesting one, online dating, which, as you guys probably realize, I never had online dating when I was young because we didn't have anything online. Issues for children of divorced parents, a low birth rate, credit card fraud, unemployment, social media, and the addiction to social media, which is an interesting topic. One that was a very specific thing was about traffic in one particular city, or teenage pregnancy, again in a very specific location. Phone addictions for college students in the US. Now notice there, it's not just geographically limited, but it's also limited to a specific group of the population. Internet addiction in general, which I feel with everyone being online now, I think we're all kind of, we spend way too much time on these things. Terrorism, GMOs, depression for international students, which is a very real issue, and violence against women. And again, this was in a very specific location. So these are all different topics. And the reason why I'm showing you these is that I know in our last class, you all talked about different topics that you had, but you can still make a decision to change those. If you, once you start looking at things and you realize, you know what, either I don't really want to write about it, or I don't feel that I can get useful information about it, or all of a sudden I realize I'm just interested in something else. That's okay. But I think you're going to need to, now is when you're going to have to really sort of make the decision about your topic. All right. Oops, let me see here. Let me see how I make that work. Oh yeah. I'm gonna put you guys to work again. But before I do that, I just want you to very quickly just pop in right now what you're thinking about for your topic. Just pop it in again. I know you did it for me last week. Just pop it in again quickly. Like if you're going to do childhood obesity, just put it in the chat room to everyone. Because I know some of you, like Christelle, you're doing something health related, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just pop in your topic. That's right, Doris. Childhood obesity, social media, and addiction. Good. And that's going to be very interesting. Internet addiction. Interesting. Childhood obesity from Injing. Good, good. Malaria. I knew it was health related, Crystal. Uh-oh. So Zara, you're still thinking here. That's okay. We still got a few people who are going to give us a menuveve. Okay, Nathan is saying ways to avoid COVID-19. That's good. You sent it to me privately, Nathan, just so you know. Chu, the role of climate change in food production. I like that. Bradley's thinking about childhood obesity or internet addiction. Okay.
Excuse me, I forgot to put it to everyone.
It's okay. I told them, Nathan's looking at ways to avoid COVID-19. Yeah. So solutions to the problem of getting infected with COVID-19.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
John. I have
Yeah.
a question.
Yeah.
Ways and solution. Is that the same thing?
Pardon me?
Ways, like ways and solution.
Well, no, when you say ways to avoid COVID-19, that's talking about the solution, but the solution is not to avoid COVID-19. The problem rather. The problem is getting sick with COVID-19. So how do you avoid getting sick your solutions are the avoiding it. The problem is people getting sick with COVID-19. Do you see what I mean? So you could say COVID-19 illness. Well, it is an illness, I guess. I still get a little confused about how to describe those terms, but yeah.
I already started to write my essay.
Nice.
I
That's
have
good.
an introduction and one body paragraph.
Good. That's good, Nathan. Mariam is going to look at phone addiction or something else. It's okay. So what I'm going to ask you to do now, though, is we're going to do a little task. If I say that very dramatically, there it is. Okay, yeah. So what I want to do is I want to make it clear to everybody, and this is a very easy one. It's just the basic formatting when you do your rough draft, but I want everyone to follow these rules. Part of the reason for that is it makes it easier for me, but the other part of it is something that's critical when you are doing academic work is that you make sure you understand the directions of what is being asked of you. So obviously the most important part of that is you don't want to write an essay about a topic that the professor doesn't want to hear about, or if the professor wants to know about solutions, you don't want to be talking about causes, because that sends a very bad message to the professor about how you understand what is going on in the class. But in addition to that, and that's the content, that's also important, but also you have to make sure you follow the formatting. I'm a pretty relaxed person. I'm very calm and, very flexible, but there are people in the academic world who are not. And so you need to make sure that you follow those rules that they ask for. That's what it is. So what we have here is the essay that you're going to be writing has to be in Times New Roman font, 12 point, that's the size, 1-inch margins around the outside, double spaced. You have to put your name, class, date, and assignment information in the top right-hand corner. You center the title on the first line. You have left alignment, not justified. You indent each paragraph. And then you have a reference list that's on a separate page with the title. It's also left aligned. You have what's called the hanging indentation, and they're done in alphabetical order. So, isn't that nice?
Yes. Yeah.
So now I'm going to ask you to do this for me.
You have to send it to you.
You're going to have to do it right now. So what you need to do is, let me see if I can stop sharing here. I'm going to ask you to open up iCollege. And I'm going to open up iCollege too. Actually, maybe I'll share that with you. I'm going to share my iCollege. Where is it? Yeah. So go to iCollege, to our class. Oh, look at that. That's so nice. I put a little outline up here for you for this week. You're going to see there's an announcement in iCollege. And right in the middle of the announcement for June 2nd Zoom session, there's a link to the basic formatting task. And if you click on that, it's going to take you to an assignment.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Oh, I think I know what I need to do. Hold on a second. I'm just going to jump into so I can look at this like I'm going to be a student here. That'll help. All right, so you go to there, you're going to go to the assignment that says basic formatting task. There it is. There's all the information. And then we have this big text, and I want you to format that for me. And here there's a document, and there's actually a document for the text itself. You can download that and open it. Maybe you can't see that now though. Hold on. So then you're going to have something that looks like this. Can you see that?
Yes.
I want you to format it. Save it, put your name on it, save it, and then you're going to upload it to that assignment in iCollege. Okay? It should take you like 5 minutes, maybe 10. Okay?
Okay.
Are there any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
How can I say that? We have to do Times New Roman.
Yes.
For all the 3 pages.
Yes.
Okay.
Now I will tell you, there are a couple things that I've learned, which is one of them is if you want to highlight the entire thing, if you're on a Windows machine, it's Control A. Because if I'm in there and I hit Control A, see it highlights the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can just go and change it like that. If you're on a Mac, it's Command A. But so I'm going to ask you. Okay.
Yeah. So
what I'm going to do, I'm going to mute myself for about the next 10 minutes or so. And if you have questions, though, I'm still here. I can still hear you. So you can ask me questions. You can send me a private text. You can share your screen. Yes?
You want us to indent each paragraph?
I'm sorry, what?
You want us to indent each paragraph?
I want you to edit this. This is an essay. But if you look at this essay, you can see that it does not have 1-inch margins here. And so you have to fix it so that it's in the right format. Also, you notice it's in Calibri and not Times New Roman. And it's 11 point, it's not 12 point. Okay, so I want you to try to make it match those formatting requirements. Okay? And I'll actually put the formatting requirements up on my screen again. So do that, then you're going to save that document and upload it to that assignment so I can see how well you've done. Okay?
Okay.
Can I write my name and class and dates in the top left corner instead of right?
No.
Because my formatting is Arabic, so it's hard for me sometimes to make it in the right side or.
Oh, I see what you mean. So you don't have that thing up there where it has right justified, left justified, that these little things on the.
I will try.
Because there's this. Because if you click on this little button here, see it moves everything over there. But Do your best. And bear in mind too, what's most important are your ideas. This is about format, which you still want to be able to make sure you do it correctly, but really your ideas are what are most critical. So if you're missing one or two of these little things, that's not the end of the world. But I do want you to be able to have this, to understand what the expectation is, because sometimes your professors will get very grumpy, or they may take points off just for that. I'm not a big fan of that, but that's what the reality is. Okay?
Yeah, and I have another question.
Sure.
Do I have to write my information, like my name and
No.
the date?
No, you
Or-
can just use Joan Doe.
Okay.
Joan. I would call her Jane, but yeah. Yeah, you don't have to change any of the information. You just have to do the formatting.
Okay.
And you can see there's even these references and everything. Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I'm here. I can hear you. So if you want to ask questions or if you want to send me a text, either in the chat room, either to everyone or privately, I'm there. Okay?
Okay. Could you show me, please, how can I make it in the right side one more time?
Sure. If you want to take something and make it on the right side, you highlight it, and then up here, there's a little thing that says align right,
Okay.
and then you do that.
But I think I have to put this in the header.
No, you don't have to. I don't think you have to put it in the header. Does it say to put
Oh.
it in the header?
I'm not sure, but I thought, because I always do
Yeah,
the
for
same
me,
thing.
this is the header.
Hmm?
Yeah.
For me, it says I have to put in the header.
Yeah.
My document says that you have to put it in the header.
No, for me, mine.
You don't need to do that, but if you want to put it in the header, you know, what you do is you go up to here, the space where the double header, the header is, and double click.
Yes.
And
That's what I.
then, yeah.
Yeah.
Should I supposed to do it like this one? Because in the last semester, that's what I learned with Miss Deborah.
Go to put it in the header.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I said that.
Oh, that Deborah. Oh, she is just trouble. Well, here, you can put it, you can still do right format if you go over here and put it up in the header. Now, bear in mind something else, and this actually is a valuable thing because Deborah Snell is wise. She is a very wise woman. But every teacher is going to be a little bit different too.
Okay.
So it's okay if you put it in the header. But for this particular thing, you don't need to put it in the header.
Okay.
So can I share my screen? I just want to show you something.
Hold on a second. Let me make sure I have it set up so. Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. You see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you can see here, I choose the right side. Then it doesn't. Oh, it's worked. Okay.
Yay!
For me, I don't see. My home is different. I don't see the right side.
How can I stop sharing my screen?
Let me see. I think I can stop it for you. Maybe.
Oh, I found it.
Oh, there you go. Good. Nathan?
Excuse me?
At least in my version of Microsoft Word, if you hit Control R, it will justify wherever your mouse is.
My word is, I don't know, it's really different from yours.
Yeah, it may be different if it's a French version, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't,
yeah.
it's,
Mon Dieu. Mon Dieu. Yeah, you're on your own on that one.
Jesus
Could you explain the last 3 things that we have to do?
Let me see here. For the reference list or in the essay?
For the reference.
Yeah, I can explain that. Hold on, I will share a screen here. Okay, just one second. Can you see mine now?
Yeah.
Okay. So the very last thing that we had, these were the 3 things: left alignment, hanging indentation, and alphabetical order. All right. Well, first, I'm going to make sure, again, if you hit Control 2, it will double space everything. But then for these, what they're saying is it has to be left alignment, which it already is. See up here, it shows the left alignment. So that's good. But then it also says something they call hanging indent. The hanging indent is you have to go up to this little line here and you move this so that the second line on each one is indented. It's kind of weird, but that's the way they do references.
Mhm.
So this one now has the hanging indent. See how the first line goes all the way to the left, but then the other ones are indented. So that's the hanging indent. And then alphabetical order is an interesting one because you have to look at the first word in each reference. Georgia, the daily, we're going to say daily because you can usually just ignore. So daily and U.S. Department. So those are our three things. And so what we need to do is put them in alphabetical order. So G, D, and U. U for US, the D for daily, and G for Georgia State. So we take this one, and I'm just going to move it up above Georgia. And now it's in alphabetical order.
Mhm.
So it's got daily, Georgia, US. Okay?
Sorry, but for me, I have different construction. I mean, direction.
Mm-hmm.
It's required title is centered on first line of paragraph.
Oh, the title is centered?
Mhm.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, let me. That's not it. It's the wrong thing. The title, that's this thing here, is centered, right?
Mhm.
So it's like that. Was that everything? Or was there another thing?
There's one more thing.
What's that?
Sorry, I think I asked stupid questions.
No, it's not stupid. These are very useful for everybody.
Okay, the last one is paragraph indentation. So what does this mean?
Okay. Let's look at this paragraph right here. In conclusion,
Mhm.
an indent, typically if you hit the tab button here when you're at the beginning of a paragraph and it goes like that, that's indented like that.
Can I use a space for 5 times? Because this doesn't work in my laptop.
It won't, you can't use the tab button?
No.
Oh. Well, you can use the 5 spaces. I don't recommend it, but you can. I mean, the other thing you can do if you're in Microsoft Word, if you're in the paragraph, you'll see here, there's up on the ruler here,
Yeah.
there's a thing here where you can move that. So if it
Yeah.
starts like that, you move that top one and move it in.
Oh.
But you can use the 5 spaces. It's just a little harder for you. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do I have to do the indentation for all the paragraphs or just the last one?
all the paragraphs.
Okay.
I'm sorry, can I ask a question? The heading that we are not like writing has a heading, the name and class and date and paper. So we are just writing in the paper as normal. Yeah.
Are you talking about the part with the person's name and the date and all that?
Yes, I'm talking this one.
Yeah, you wouldn't call that a heading.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, it's hard to do with my version of Microsoft. What?
I understand, Nathan, that can be hard. One of the things that I can do for you is I will post a Word document that has all the correct formatting, and you can use that Word document. You open that and save it as your own document, and then you can put your text into that, and you'll already have the formatting set. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that might make it easier, because I know sometimes the different versions of Word can be frustrating that way.
And I think the Times New Roman is different from yours. When it's writing, I don't know.
Well, the font should be the same font, but maybe it's not. Yeah. Hi, Beatrice.
Hello, good morning.
Professor John.
I don't see anybody.
John?
He's in mute.
I'll send you a private message. Everyone is working.
Sorry.
Okay.
Professor John, I have a question.
Yes.
So where do I have to put my name on the document? Under edited paper?
Yeah, you can actually, you don't need to put your name inside the document. When you go to save it, just save it, say Doris, and in the Word document, in the file.
Okay.
And then you can upload it into iCollege, into that assignment. How are you all doing? Once you've got it saved, you want to upload it to iCollege.
I already did. May you check it?
Let me take a look.
Except hanging indentation because I can't find it.
Yes, I can do that one also.
Me too.
Oh, nice. I see we got some in here. Excuse me. Okay, folks, what I'm going to do, I want to share with you Doris's that she's posted here. I think you can see this. So you can see what she's done is she put everything into Times New Roman 12 point, which is up there at the top. And then she has the Jane Doe, or Joan Doe really. All of that is over there on the right. And she used the right justify button to do that. She has the title centered. She's got the tab for the first line. Everything is double spaced. And to double space, you have to go to this thing and make sure it's on 2.0. And looking good. Looking good. Oh my. And then we have the references. The reference is centered. And then these things are in alphabetical order. And we have the hanging indent. Okay?
Can I say something?
Yes.
The last thing that's now you are showing us, I didn't do it because the file that you gave us didn't require this. So can I do them and send it again?
Sure. Yeah, of course you can. Yep. Yeah. But don't worry about that now. You can do that after class. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about some grammar, and I'm going to look at what you guys have here. Really, you know, the focus or the purpose of doing this is that I want you to be aware that, wait, I'm going to come back and see you guys again. That you have to be aware of all the factors that go into how someone is going to be analyzing your writing. Now, you guys made a good point earlier because you mentioned that Deborah last semester had a little bit different structure than what I have now. That doesn't mean that she's wrong, because she's always right, actually. But it also doesn't mean that I'm wrong either. It just means that different teachers and also different fields will have different ways that they want you to do things. The more that you can stay in line with what they're asking you to do, the less you're going to have to worry about them thinking about anything other than your ideas. Because that's what you want. You want to be able, you want to have just a free, direct line between your ideas and how they're receiving it. So that's really the purpose of this activity. If you haven't been able to upload it, or if you decide you want to change it, you can add another, you can upload it later. It's not a big deal. Okay?
Yeah.
But I do think that I want to talk to you now about something a little different. I think I've mentioned to you guys in the past that I have just several loves in my life. And one of those loves,
It's grammar.
yes, it's grammar. So we're going to take a look at this grammar. For this unit, the grammar is can you see my screen now, guys?
Yeah.
The present perfect and the present perfect progressive. I want to walk you through a little bit of this, and then we're going to go back and talk about it. So, present perfect and present perfect progressive. I know you guys are probably shaking your heads saying, why? Why are you telling us more grammar terms? I'm sorry. However, these are very important to understand how to use, how to create, and how to use. We often will use it to describe situations, recent research, and trends that have an impact on a problem. And remember, you're going to be writing about a problem. The present perfect emphasizes a time in the past and its relationship to right now. The time period may or may not be completed, but for both the regular present perfect and then the progressive. Progressive just means you got that ing verb at the end. There's always some connection to now. And the progressive describes it that you emphasize that something is still happening for the most part. So genetically modified food has been available in grocery stores for many years. It started in the past and it continues today. Researchers have been studying the impact of GM food. It started in the past and it's still happening even today. So, yeah. Yes, Sarah?
Since you said that both of them start from the past and continuous to now, so what's the difference between them?
I am glad you asked that question, Zara, and we're going to talk about that in just a couple minutes, because in some, and it's a really good point that you bring up, because in many instances, there's really very little difference between them. There are a few cases where there are differences, but oftentimes people can use, you know, I have studied English, or I have been studying English. They're almost synonymous, but not exactly. So we use it to describe an event that started at some unknown time, and it may be completed or it may continue. Here's a specific completed event. Some researchers demonstrated that genetically modified food may cause damage to humans. The consumption of GM foods has increased significantly, means that it started in the past, but we're also saying there may be some relationship to now and even the future. But you do not want to use the present perfect if something has happened and it's clearly, completely done. So for example, if you say sales of GM food increased dramatically between 2001 and 2011, you've got a set time period in the past, you would just use the simple past. One of the nice things for you all as academic writers is this is a tense you can use to show how something in the past relates to now. It's still relevant now. Researchers have discovered recently that some GM foods may not cause health problems. So as a writer, you're saying this is important and relevant now, because you could have just said researchers discovered, and then you're saying, well, it's kind of in the past, not so critical. And then there are a couple other examples. We often will use the present perfect to introduce general ideas and provide background information. Sorry. The farming of GM food has increased in recent years. So it's sort of an introductory type of a thing. And then once you show that sort of general idea, then you use simple past to fill in details. In 2010, Brazil dramatically increased the use of land. These adverbs, already, ever, never, and yet, are often used with the present perfect. Many farmers, you could say many farmers have seen enormous gains, but you can also add emphasis by many farmers have already seen enormous gains. Has any technological advance ever been accepted immediately? and they haven't finished the research, or they haven't finished the research. They haven't finished the research yet. And researchers have never been able to prove that GM foods cause damage. We also use the present perfect in your academic writing to refer to your own writing, but previous parts of the writing. And you can also use it to refer to other research. As we have seen, there's no easy answer to the problem of our nation's food shortage. So in this case, you've already written about it, and you're just reminding your reader that you've brought up this point. And also, when you're talking about other research, Swanson, 2010, has argued that Critics have examined the situation carefully. So you're showing that again, it's showing something that's in the past, but you're making the connection to the present, to your present writing. Now we use the present perfect progressive, and this addresses a little bit of Zara's question, to describe actions that started in the past, but to emphasize that they continue now and may continue in the future. So researchers have been warning us for many years that GM foods have potential health risks. Now you could just say researchers have warned us. That's fine. But have been warning us adds emphasis that it's an ongoing process. So notice they're both correct. And that's where Zara's point is well taken, because they're very similar. This group has been studying the effects of GM foods since 2001. You're emphasizing that it's still going on today. And you don't want to use it with stative verbs. And it's verbs like to be and things like, and believe. And we'll talk about that in a minute too. So some scientists have been believing. No, we don't do that. You can just say have believed.
Why?
That's a good question. And the question, to answer the question why, for some grammar concepts is difficult, because in part, it's just the way that things are used, but also in part because the state of believing is considered to be more of a, I don't even know how you would describe it. And I'm going to give you the list of verbs because it is important, but it's hard to say there's a specific rule that is based on. So I know that's not what you want to hear, Zara, so I apologize, but that's what we got.
No, that when you said that, I remembered something.
What's that?
I think something like something emotional or something we can't just feeling of this word. I think we can't use ing.
Right, exactly. And I'm going to show you a list of those verbs in a minute. Because you're right, and I actually think it's better to look at the common verbs that it's not used with, so that you can use that information. We use it to emphasize how long the action's been going on. So oftentimes you're going to use it with things like all semester. We have been listening to John's grammar explanations all semester. It feels like we have been listening to him for years, things like that. But you could also say he's been collecting data all semester. They've been interviewing consumers for 3 months. You can use since to show the starting point. Stores have not been carrying that product since 2010. Sometimes, though, it won't have any sort of time expression. What has your research group been working on? We've been studying GM crops. You can have the time, but it's not always necessary. And as to go back to Zara's original point, the present perfect and the present perfect progressive, in many cases, really have the same meaning. In this case, both of these have the same meaning. So, all right. Now, what I want to do here is quickly jump to a slightly different one, if I can. Are there any questions?
No.
Okay.
Not yet, maybe later.
They can come, yes, yes. And that's perfectly understandable. Let me see here, hold on. Are you seeing my grammar slide here or no?
Yeah.
And then has it changed?
Yeah.
Yes.
Does it say present perfect?
Yes.
Present perfect progressive?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And there's a big smiley face?
Yes.
No, it's not a big.
Just a little one?
Yeah.
It's big for me because I love grammar. This is something that my good friend Sharon Santmeyer put together that I really like. When we're looking at the difference between these two, the present perfect, the emphasis should be on completion. So I have done my homework means it's done. It's still important now, but it's done. Whereas for the present perfect progressive, it's more about the length of time. I have been writing for an hour. Also, the present perfect focuses more on the results. I have written 5 letters. I have been to London twice. These are things that I have completed and done. Whereas it's also, the present perfect progressive with the ing is more about continuity. I have been doing my homework. Now, it's not saying I've finished my homework. It's just saying I have been doing it. So it's a matter of, it's been a process. And also the present perfect, again, this is not 100% accurate or always true, but usually it's more permanent. If you say James has lived in this town for 10 years, means he's kind of permanent. James has been living here for a year, it's more likely that it's going to be temporary. Now, that's not always 100% true. Did a new thing pop up here where you see 5 sentences?
Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
I want you to take a look at those and see how you might rewrite them.
Before we start, can you go back to the slide?
That one?
This sentence, I have done my homework. So why do we use present perfect since we finished the homework?
That is a great question. Anybody have any ideas? Why would we say I have done my homework? Well, what's the option?
Maybe I just finished it now. Maybe.
Well, you can say I finished my homework, right? I finished my homework. I did my homework, right?
Yeah.
Just the simple past tense. And you can say I just finished my homework, or I just did my homework, which means I did it very recently, right?
Yeah.
So any ideas why this would be, why?
I think I have an answer.
What is that?
Well, if I said I have done my homework, it means for today. But when you say I have been doing my homework, maybe in the final exam, when you are trying to find out the grade, for example. If I have been doing my homework, you know, for the whole time since the semester started.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. It certainly, the present perfect progressive is suggesting more of a length of time, a whole series. I think though, to address the question of why we would use the present perfect instead of just the simple past, instead of saying I have done my homework instead of I did my homework. It's a great question because there also is, it's still describing the same act. Something happened in the past. The homework was completed, right? To use the passive voice. So they're both done. And the only time, the reason why I would recommend the present perfect is as a writer or as a speaker, if you want to connect that to something else that you just wrote or you're about to write. So I have done my homework, so now I can rest, right? You know, now you could also say I did my homework, so now I can rest, and that's okay. This just adds an emphasis that it was done, but it's still important now, either for what I'm about to write or about, you know, a more existential idea about what's happening. So you make a really good point that they're all grammatically correct and they all make sense. It's just a matter of emphasis.
Maybe it's just a high level of grammar.
It's a high level of grammar. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have wrote a letter, or I have written a letter.
I have written a letter. Yeah, because remember the present perfect, this is just like with the passive voice, you use the past participle.
Okay.
You don't use the simple past tense. And that's why it's I have done my homework, not I have did my homework.
Mm.
You can say I did my homework, I have done my homework. I got something, I have gotten something. Yeah, so there is a little bit different. Or I was in London, I have been to London. Yeah, I have been in London, I was in London, yeah. And so now though, oops. I want you guys to look at these. And I will tell you there are 5 sentences here. And 4 of them have some problem with it. Take a look at it. You can take out a piece of paper, take a little note, see what you think. I'm going to give you a minute to look at those, and then we're going to go through them together, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the problem. The first one.
We're going to go through them together in just a minute, but I want to give you guys an opportunity to look at all 5 and see what you might do, and then we'll compare. I know we're bumping up into the end of our class session, so I'm going to start moving through this with you. Now, I want to point something out to you. Here in this sentence, I have been traveling to Bangkok twice. I put the little asterisk in front of that sentence. The reason why I put an asterisk is to show that this sentence is incorrect. Anyone have any suggestions how you would fix that? What you would say?
The first one.
Yeah, Nathan?
I've been traveling to Hong Kong. You say for this one, I thought for the first one. Let me see.
Wait, is this one the same one? Yeah, what about this one? Anybody?
I have.
Hold on. What was it? Beatrice, what do you have?
I have been twice in Bangkok.
Okay, that's interesting. Good. What else? Anybody else have anything?
Can I say?
Yes.
I have been traveled.
Yes.
Twice.
Well, be careful, because remember, you don't want to make it the passive voice, because this doesn't really fit the passive voice. But you can say, I have traveled
to Bangkok twice.
To Bangkok twice. And I think that's probably the best choice. Now, I think Beatrice said, I have been to Bangkok, right?
Yes.
So you can actually get rid of the verb travel and just say the verb be. But if you wanted to keep the word travel, that is the action, you would say, I have traveled. And then that would be the best option. What about this? I have been writing yesterday.
Since.
Could you read that whole sentence for me, Nathan? Because I like where you're going with that.
I have been writing since yesterday, maybe.
That's what I like to hear, because this is a writing class. I want you to be writing. So Nathan has been writing since yesterday.
Yesterday.
Nice.
Thank you.
But I
So-
think you said we can't use since with passive voice.
But be careful. This is not the passive voice. This is the present perfect.
The
And,
present
and it gets confusing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Because, yeah, there's the active voice and the passive voice. This is really looking at a different parameter, which is the perfect. Now, you could say, if you said, I have been writing yesterday, you could just say, I was writing yesterday. Or I wrote yesterday. But what I like what Nathan was saying, I have been writing since yesterday.
Yesterday.
So then you're saying it's a process that's continuing. And even now, during this class, I'm still writing. What about this? I have been knowing him for 13 years.
I have been known him for 30 years.
No,
I think this
Doris, what do you have, Doris?
I have known him.
Notice this is one of those verbs, and I have that, to be honest, this is a grammar term I hate called stative, which is, it just means verbs like to know, to believe, things like that. So that's one of the ones you can't use with the ing.
Ah, that's what I say. I have known.
Nice. So I have known him for 13 years. Notice in this case, if you said I knew him for 13 years, that would mean that whole thing was in the past and you no longer know him.
Oh.
So this shows you that you started to know him 13 years ago. That's when you met him. And you had a relationship with him for 13 years. I've done my homework since 5 a.m. this morning. Any ideas?
I have done my homework this morning, or I have been doing my homework since 5 a.m. this morning.
I think that's correct.
Yeah, if we're going to keep what do you have?
I started doing my homework since 5.
Well, be careful. If you use I started, which is good, I started doing my homework, then you can't use the word since, because start is a specific time.
From, like you have to put from to, like this.
Not from, well, no, but if you use the word start, I started my homework at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
But you could say I did my homework from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m.
No.
But in this case, it would be I have been doing my homework since 5 a.m. Because the since 5 a.m., you're showing that it's an active process that's still going on now. And depending on the homework I give you, you may continue in the future.
So what's the wrong with this sentence? I mean, we can say I have done my homework since 5 a.m.
No, that is not correct. And that's because what you're saying, you could say I have done my homework and stop right there. That's fine. I have done my homework. John's giving me a look. Hey, John, I have done my homework. Don't give me a look. But if you want to talk about the process that it started at 5 a.m. and it's going up to now, and it may even continue, then you would say, I have been doing my homework since 5 a.m.
Yeah, but I mean, if I said I have done my homework since 5 a.m., it means I started and I finished it.
But the since, if that word since is saying it started, but it's still going.
Okay.
So for example, I have been living in Atlanta since, I have done my homework since 5 a.m. I have done my homework since 5 a.m. No, you're not, you wouldn't do it.
But we can say, I have done my homework this morning.
You can say that. I have done my homework this morning. Yeah. You could say that, but because it's an action like that, you would say, I have been doing it since 5 a.m. I have been studying English since I was 10 years old.
Okay.
What about this? John has lived in Atlanta for 19 years.
John has been living in Atlanta for 19 years, if he's still living.
I hope I'm still living. it's actually an okay sentence.
Yeah.
But as I think Beatrice mentioned, you could say John has been living in Atlanta for 19 years. Remember in our previous slide, when you say he has been living in Atlanta for 19 years, it can mean that it's more temporary. Although after 19 years, I'm not temporary, I'm permanent. Okay, so what I want to do, I just want to point something out to you about the academic word list, because I know some of you have done you've submitted your thing, which is good. And I think Zara mentioned something to me that I want to point out. You can take the quizzes as many times as you want, and you can do it before you do anything else if you want to. So like for the next set of academic words, you can take the quiz first, see how you do, and then you can start looking at all these other exercises. One of the other things that I recommend that you do is you look at each one of these words and you put it into one of three categories. Either one, you know it really well. Like the word percent, you may say, percent, I know what it means. I'm a mathematical person, I'm good. But you may look at the word derive and say, well, yeah, drive, I got nothing. So it's either you know it well, you don't know it at all, or maybe you've got a word like constitute and you say, you know what, I think I know what it means, but I'm not really sure. So I think it's good to be able to identify, I know a word well, I know it a little bit, I don't really know this word. And that way you can sort of focus on those words that you don't know. And also you can take the quizzes as often as you want. Every time you take the quiz, just so you know, I've set it up so that each time you take the quiz, you're going to have 4 groups of words from that list that you're going to have to identify the meaning of. So if you take the quiz once, the next time you take it, it's going to be very different. And you can keep doing that as often as you want, because every time, and research supports this, every time you interact with a word like this that you're going to be encountering in an academic area, every time you see it or you engage with it, that helps keep it up here so when it's time to use it in your writing, you're more likely to use it. Okay? That's the second sublist. And we're going to talk about this more on Thursday, because I think we are just about at the end of our time. But I did want to just remind you of the essay that's due on Sunday night, and we'll talk about it in more detail on Thursday. So you're going to have the introduction paragraph, your background paragraph. This PowerPoint is online too, so don't worry. You want to look at the terminology that you're using. If you're writing about childhood obesity, one of the things that you should know is what is BMI, Body Mass Index. That terminology is going to be very important. And I want you, as you're looking at your topic and starting to do research, write down the key words. That's going to help you as you're writing and also as you're reading. For Thursday, I'm going to ask you to come up with an outline for your rough draft. The outline is going to include sort of basic ideas about your introductory paragraph, how you want to sort of organize your background paragraph, what are going to be your 3 topics for your body paragraphs, and then what are you going to do at the end? Are you going to try and present a new or unusual suggestion? Are you going to make a prediction? Something like that. I'm only asking you to have 2 sources rather, but you can have more than that. Many students will have numerous sources. Okay, so your homework. I know you have been doing homework all weekend, but you will continue. Bring any questions you have about Unit 13, because there are exercises there, and it's actually some really nice vocabulary, or there's a second part to it that we didn't talk about that's all about noun phrases. So it's where you have the idea that the concept of those kinds of things. So try to work through the exercises in Unit 13, bring any questions that you have. I want you to have your thesis statement ready and an outline for your rough draft. You know, an outline can be rough. And I've also posted on iCollege a document that can help you with all of this. And then be ready to answer questions, tough questions from me or from your classmates about your topic. And just as a reminder, even though it's not till later, Sunday night, we've got a quiz. We've got the discussion board that's talking about genetically modified foods. I want you to check your answers to your exercises with the answer key that's posted in iCollege. And you're going to submit your rough draft, beautifully formatted, Times New Roman, double spaced, and beautifully researched. So, are there any questions?
For me, I have about the grammars.
A question about the grammar? Well, here's what I'm going to recommend. What I would like you to do, and I know it'll be late for you, so we can set up a time earlier. I want you to talk to me during, not during my office hour, but you and I can set up a time where we can talk. And if other people want to meet with us too, I'm happy to do that. Because I'd like you to take a look at the exercises in Unit 13. This is a challenging couple of grammar topics that we're looking at.
Did you put the Unit 3 to Unit 13 online in iCollege? Because I'm still reading for my book.
Oh, you know what? I created the file, but I did not upload it. I'll do that right now.
Okay.
Okay, I'll upload it. If you don't see it within the next hour, email me.
Okay.
And say, John, I'm politely reminding you to get going.
And also, I've been trying to reach you for 3 days.
How?
I was calling you by phone.
You were?
Yes.
Don't call my office phone number because, you know, we don't get to go into our office.
Oh, okay.
But you're in our WhatsApp group, right? So you can you can send me a gentle text or a phone call. Just remember, I'm old, so not in the middle of the night, okay?
Okay.
Any other questions? By the way, I'm not that old, so don't worry. Any other thoughts before we break?
Just thank you.
Okay, you guys did nice work. If you didn't finish that formatting assignment, please upload it. I will look at what you've got. Also, everyone, please send positive energy to our dear friend Claudia. Hopefully, she will be back on Thursday with us. She has traveled to Brazil, and so she's going to try and do the class from Brazil with us. But please send positive energy to her, okay?
Okay.
I have one question. Where I can find the formatting thing that you were doing?
Okay, it's in the, if you go to iCollege, there's an announcement with today's class, and there's a link there that takes you right to that assignment, and the documents are in that assignment.
Oh, okay.
You can download it, modify it, and then upload it again.
I will.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
And send me any questions if it's confusing, because sometimes I think it's clear and then it's not. So we'll make it clear. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, it's time for me to go back to outer space.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a good day.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
See you on Thursday.
Yeah.
Bye.